why people want to blame us, Ralston, when we put these things on the table?
Because they are in denial, and the longer they stay in denial, is the more the country is going to deteriorate, and is the more we are going to see all these conditions that they wring their hands about, not knowing that these are the factors that are driving them. They are in denial.
Well, we are talking about the truth.
Yeah, man, we follow data.
And we're not telling nobody that we balance. What we speak is what we know as the truth, the whole truth, man, and nothing but the truth. Ralston, from the beginning of the year, and even in last year, we were saying that government policies were wrong.
Yeah, man.
The government was paying more than they need to pay on the debt. Give us a background on all of that before we come up to the time now.
And they are still doing it. As at the period, January to September, the primary surplus, which is the amount of money we accumulate to service the debt, was running at 107 billion, when it should have been only 97 billion. So they are still doing it.
So 107 billion when all we need was 97 billion. So we're talking about 10 billion more than we needed to pay.
And that has been a consistent practice over the last 6 years under Clark's stewardship. So those who are wondering what is happening to the roads and the hospitals and the schools and all those things, that's the answer.
So the government preferred to pay the bank more money than the banks required.
Precisely.
So the bank said to you, pay me $20 million a year. But the government decided to pay $25 million a year.
Yeah.
And while
go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
While doing that, they starve the country's human capital as well as the country's physical capital. That is why everything has broken down.
And let's look at this. While paying the banks more than they need to pay, JUTC run aground.
Yeah, man.
So in 2016, JUTC had 460 buses. Today, them only have 240.
They carried 62 million passengers. Today, they are carrying 16 million passengers.
Quarter of what they used to carry. Hence, we're seeing gridlock in the city of Kingston. You can't go anywhere fast, and therefore a slowing down of production.
Correct. And a waste of foreign exchange, because all of that parts and gasoline, we don't make any of them. We have to import them.
We have to import them. Our roads went into donkey
emergency.
trucks.
The Prime Minister declared them an emergency. This is the first time in the history of Jamaica that has ever happened.
So you are the Prime Minister for 8 years. And the road reach a stage now till you have to declare an emergency. What does that really say to the people?
And it's not because you don't have any resources, because you collect more taxes than any other previous government and you get more money to borrow than any other previous government.
So you have more money at your disposal than any other government in independent Jamaica.
Precisely.
So what really go on then, Ralston?
Misallocation of those resources. As we said before, them spend most of those resources to unnecessarily bring the debt to GDP ratio down to 70%. As at the same time, they sacrifice the country's infrastructure and human capital.
So
that's why everybody done. That's why everybody done. That's why the road them mash up. That's why the hospital them mash up, and you have to sit down on chair for 3-4 days before you get a bed. All of that. That's why the JUTC has been run aground. All of those things.
In 2016, the Jamaica Labour Party took office, and we saw the challenges in public health, and we set out to fix it. We exchanged the scandal apron for a shopping bag, and we decided to go shopping to upgrade the health infrastructure in this country. And as Edward Siaga the Great would say, it takes cash to care. This government has moved the health budget from $60 billion in 2016 to $140 billion in 2023.
But Christopher Tufton at conference said that when he came in to be the Minister of Health, the budget to the health ministry was $60 billion. The budget to the health ministry now is $120 billion. So how the hospital them for mash up?
Well, I mean, a significant portion of those resources were misallocated. So when people are talking about...
The health ministry can't account for $695 billion.
Yep.
That is for them. The education ministry have not given the account for $902 billion. We want to talk about that, but we don't want to reach there so yet. Because you talk about the hospital, them mash up. How can the hospital them not at optimum, but the government is admitting that we are not short on money?
So what they are telling is that the money has been misallocated. That is why the $695 billion cannot be accounted for.
Ralston, education,
same thing.
A critical sector in any country's development. $902 billion over 9 years.
Yep.
With the matter of Ruel Reid. However, the present Ministry of Finance is trying to say to the people of Jamaica, no money, no missing. We are going to account for it.
The was running that ministry for a very long time. But the present minister is also culpable in that regard. So whether you want to say it missing or it unaccounted for, the fact of the matter is that the Auditor General has no appropriations accounts for all of that money. And until we get those accounts and can properly audit them, whether you want to use the word missing or unaccounted for or stolen, whatever, the country hasn't determined and is not in a position to determine whether we got value for those monies. Simple.
But it gets worse, Ralston. The Ministry of Finance, for the last 4 years, have not accounted for $1 trillion.
Under the great Nigel Clark, yes.
Why people want to blame us, Ralston, when we put these things on the table?
Because they are in denial, and the longer they stay in denial, is the more the country is going to deteriorate, and is the more we are going to see all these conditions that they wring their hands about, not knowing that these are the factors that are driving them. They are in denial.
You've been saying it, and a lot of people question when you talk, but they question without the numbers. What do you say to those people?
Well, I'll tell them that they must get the numbers because you can't analyze anything rationally or properly without the numbers. They're dealing with emotions and party affiliations. We're dealing with data and Jamaica. That's the big difference.
But them say you're PNP, Ralston.
Well, whatever they want to say, there's no PNP data or JLP data. What they want to do is to create PNP data and JLP data. Data is data, and it's data that determines if you make good policy. All the good countries in the world that are doing well, their decisions are data-driven.
Where do you get your data from?
The same official sources, the Planning Institute of Jamaica, the Bank of Jamaica, the Statistical Institute of Jamaica, the IMF, the World Bank, the U.S. Federal Reserve Board, the European Central Bank, the Bank of England, the Bank of Japan, the People's Bank of China, all of those sources.
So you don't get data from places where nobody else can get it?
No, precisely.
So where you are talking from is that if people are interested, and some of those people who are saying everything good, if they want to tell the truth, they could have find it. Precisely.
And if the people who are interviewing them were au fait with the data, then they'll know when they are giving misleading information. For example, Mr. Chung gives a whole lot of misleading data.
You know, Ralston, that's a critical part of the thing, A lot of people are conducting interviews and they have
a clue as to what they're talking about.
Exactly. Yeah. So they don't know the questions to ask. Therefore, they can't get the truth.
Yeah, precisely.
And people
it's
tell
not
them
a
lies.
lot of people. There's a lot of people. They are the main people who put up themselves to be interviewing everybody and say they are the top people. So that makes it even worse. The people who say they are the top people and conduct the most interviews, they have no clue about what they're talking about. So they have no clue when people are giving them misleading information.
Or is it that some of them are part of the colored scheme, so they don't
Some of
want...
them are colored, and some of it is unconscious incompetence.
Is it that the fourth estate has falling down on the job, Ralston?
Yeah, man. Fourth estate, the University of the West Indies and civil society, yes, as well as the private sector association. They are very wimpish.
Why do you blame the University of the West Indies as a part of the falling down of getting this information out to the people?
Well, in the 1970s, the Department of Economics at the UWI played a very important role in policy making. We haven't seen that again during this dispensation. We hear nothing coming out of the Department of Economics at the UWI.
Or is it that the fourth estate don't engage them enough because...
No, man, the fourth estate engaged them a lot. And I'm saying that we don't get anything that is sensible coming from them. And because the fourth estate, a lot of the members of the fourth estate, they are in awe of those people from the Department of Economics. So any nonsense them talk, them just run with it.
You think fear is a part of why people don't come out and speak the way you speak the figures?
Yeah, man, fear and ignorance. Yeah, a combination of both.